Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 110. It's not me, it's you. Recorded on Friday, September 4th, 2020. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the news.
So a very slow news week. We were talking about it kind of off recording here, but normally we have 10, 12 different stories we can kind of go through in a given week, and I kind of edit them down to 6 to 9 that I think are we're talking about, but we've got 4. This is all 4, so we're just going to go through all of them, but they're all pretty good. So we got number 1, Zoho Expense now integrates with Amazon Business. This is kind of a cool thing. I've noticed they've been doing a lot with Amazon Expense lately, and with Zoho Expense and the various things it's been integrating with. But this basically allows you to kind of one button click and just take all your Amazon Business expenses that's in your Amazon Business account and push them right to Zoho Expense. So pretty nice little update.
And Amazon Business is a pretty cool tool because it's kind of built for business purchasing through Amazon. So you get all the bells and whistles and the easy buying experience. And now with this integration, you can just route that directly into the Zoho Finance suite.
Yeah. And so, and their expense is great. It goes right into books, and if you actually using payroll, it goes into payroll. There's so much. So it's small little updates that they keep making to these various products, but that's a good one. And Zoho has launched TeamInbox, now a part of Zoho One. So if you had a trouble and you kind of got the trial and it ran out and you couldn't use it anymore, you should have gotten an email that allows you to associate it with Zoho One. This is a brand new product. Basically, it's a group inbox. You can have an inbox with several different people in it, and you can have collaboration. And, Tyler, we haven't really played with it much. It kind of reminds me a bit of Zoho Desk without the ticketing and without the follow-up and without the knowledge base, but kind of like for people that don't really need all that, but they want to be able to, have a certain set inbox where everybody can respond to it. It seems like that's what they're after here.
Yeah, it's kind of like right now it's pretty simple. I'd imagine they'll probably build on it over time. At the moment, you basically can create group inboxes and assign tickets to groups or assign tickets to specific people. It's got a couple basic filters so that you could see any emails that were in a specific inbox or group that you're a part of, or any emails that are specifically assigned to you. We didn't really see a lot of settings around like automation or auto assignment on this yet. I'm assuming that that's in the works because that's what kind of makes a tool like this even more powerful. But yeah, it's kind of like a lightweight desk. I mean, you'd really only want to use this over desk if you were a pretty small team. Once you're even above like 5 people, maybe doing customer service or, a general sales inbox, being able to ticket and, kind of take notes, comments on things like that, like you can with an actual help desk tool, is probably going to be a better solution. But for kind of simple email sharing, this is a quick and easy way to get the job done.
Yeah, and I think you and I made the decision to move the company back to Zoho Mail here, probably this week or next week. And this is actually built on Zoho Mail, but you don't need to have Zoho Mail to use it. But I'm curious. This could be a really good thing. We'll see, play with it some more. It's really funny. I mean, this out of the blue, some of these product launches that Zoho has, this is not something we even heard about or even knew was coming down the road when it happened. Next one I love, Zoho Sign Finance integration got a huge enhancement. Users you can send an estimate and it can be accepted and signed directly from the email that the clients receive. It's just a big deal. Before it was just such a pain on these estimates for them to accept and sign and do those kind of things. So this is a big update. We've had a lot of clients that have had trouble with this.
Yeah, they rolled out the sign and finance integration a little while back, but the big prohibitive factor was that in order for the recipient to sign, an estimate that they received, they would need to actually log into the Books portal, which means that everyone who's getting an estimate needs to get the invite for the portal, actually sign up for the portal, remember to go there to sign the estimate specifically. So just kind of made it a little unfeasible for a lot of people. If you were already big on using the Books portal, then this was great, right? And it worked fine. But this update, I think, is going to bring this, a lot wider use because it's not as reliant on the Books portal anymore.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And it actually makes signing and approving those estimates a good thing. Hey, and also with the very last minute when we logged in this morning, we had only 3 stories to start the day, but here on Friday morning, we actually had this 4th one. This is at the beginning of every month, Zoho will roll out all of the financial suite kind of roll-ups as to here's what's happening in September. Books is the first one that comes out. We'll get one for invoice and for subscriptions and inventory. They'll all come down the line here in a few days. But to start off with, we got the Zoho Books one, which is pretty good. We were talking about this before the show. Really, a lot of nice enhancements here.
Yes, they've kind of added a couple additional reporting options around business performance ratios, right? So things like gross profit, net profit ratio, kind of a couple of the key ones that you might want to keep track of. Debt to equity is a big one as well in there. So kind of added a lot of those standard ratios that you might want to have. So if you are tracking all of your revenue and you have all your banks connected and kind of visible in Books, these give you some easy to pull up reports to make sure you're on the right track.
Yeah, and then you've got item level discounts now for bills and purchase orders. You could do this on invoices before, but you couldn't do it here. So that's something like I think we talked about last show. I thought that was a thing, but it's not one. So that's a super nice enhancement as well. And it's going to auto apply credits and excess payments to recurring invoices. So if you got a recurring invoice and you've given them a credit or they overpaid on one, it's going to automatically apply that to the next invoice that goes out. You don't have to manually do that. Super nice enhancement as well. And then kind of a small thing, you can view contact remarks while creating sales and purchase orders. So in a contact in Books, if you've made some notes about that customer while you're creating sales and purchase orders, you can read what you wrote. So I guess anybody can see what other specific questions you have about that client. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, kind of a nice set of updates all around.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, and then that brings us to our implementation of the week. What do you got, Tyler?
Yeah, so this one's kind of a specific example of what we talked about last week, using the different subforms and kind of using those to empower the deal record to do a lot of work throughout the system. So this was an example of where we put together a CRM and desk integration so that, once you win a certain deal, we're actually creating implementation tickets that go out to your service team to kind of get the ball started on the implementation process. So basically throughout a deal's life cycle, they're going to be loading in this different product information into a subform. And then we'll also be capturing a delivery date that certain products or groups of products need to be finalized on. And so once we actually close that deal and mark it won, it takes that subform lists, groups up different products based on some rules, right? So things that are sold together but are 2 different SKUs kind of get rolled up into one implementation. And so it takes those groups of products and writes them over into Zoho Desk as implementation tickets so that the service team automatically gets notified with what products need to go out to which customer, which ones need to be put together first, right? All these kind of like things that need to happen to fulfill the order that was just won through that deal. And then we also have a couple of rules around ticket priority. So based on the delivery date that we have for these products, the ticket priority is set based on some rules. So if it's like, we need this in 7 days, it goes to high priority, and et cetera for medium and low as that delivery date is further out in the future. So it kind of bridges the gap between winning the deal and then beginning on fulfilling it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So we use, basically general workflows that just create a variety of tasks inside CRM, and then all the notifications are kind of handled inside Cliq, right? So when a deal happens, a bunch of stuff happens in Cliq, everybody gets notified, and then a bunch of tasks. So I guess for clients that are truly living in Desk, which a lot do, this is a pretty slick implementation.
Yeah, and for this use case too, the way that they're using Desk is almost like a service management system, right? So it's kind of like their implementation team is getting these tickets related to these customers. They can track time against them. A lot of the times these implementations involve communicating with the customer. So kind of teeing it up so that it's already linked to that Desk contact. And you're able to just email directly out of the ticket. Made the process a lot easier for these guys.
Yeah, pretty slick. So, all right. It's interesting too. I guess we can kind of quasi talk about this, but early access beta, I guess we can't talk about the product of Zoho's field service management tool, just came out. And that's going to be interesting. I mean, if you talk about, bench utilization, all of these kind of things as well, there's going to be some huge crossover here. And it's going to, really be curious to see how between, desk and this and the CRM, how that all is going to go together and how we're going to be able to do some things with that. Because just in our initial playing around with it, it looks like it has some serious promise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and let's move on to things we noticed. I know that you and Josh were just thrilled this week when you stumbled across this.
Yeah, so Zoho Flow is a tool that we use a lot to set up integrations between different Zoho apps. So it works kind of like Zapier, where I can say, if an invoice is paid in Books, go do this thing over in the CRM. So it lets us create little workflows that kind of bridge the gap between different applications. And on September 1st, we started noticing little, warning signs in Zoho Flow, and then a couple customers actually forwarded emails that they got notifying them of this change, that Zoho Flow and Zoho Books are moving to a new API version, and all of the current connections are going to be deprecated on October 29th. So it's about a two-month notice that this is going to be going on. The changeover is pretty quick. You basically just need to go in and reconnect the two applications and then update all of your flows that have a connection to Zoho Books up to your new version. So far for us, we haven't had to make any structural changes to flows. It's really just changing the connection. Everything actually stays mapped. So you're not like having to rebuild all of your integrations. But there are a couple different actions that are available now. So we might make a couple changes, as we see better ways to do these integrations. But we just thought it was a little interesting, kind of came as a surprise to us with a little 2-month limit to get all of these updated to the new version.
It's really crazy that, is there a reason, since there's no announcement, do we have any idea what was wrong with the old connection that they needed to deprecate it and then create a new one?
No, and we haven't really covered any news around any changes to the Books API either. I don't know if they were just using a couple old methods or what. I mean, it hasn't been updated since I've been using Flow, to my knowledge, so maybe it just was still sitting on some type of old version.
But we have had some reliability issues, right? So maybe this is fixing some of those. Maybe there was maybe there was something fundamentally wrong, and this is going to fix that. So, all right. Hey, and then this week's reads, well, it should be reads. So about 10 days ago, I really recommend, by the way, everybody go over to the Zoho community. There was a little questionnaire for CRM admins, and Zoho put it out, and they wanted to know, answer these 10 questions about how you use your CRM. And they basically turned it into a nifty little infographic saying, are you a CRM superhero? And these were all kind of yes, no type of questions, and then with some other things. So, do you have a defined goal for your CRM? And if so, what are they? Have you set up a sales process and workflows for your sales team? And, the whole yes, no, and kind of going through that. Do you educate your sales team on how to use the CRM application? 82-20 don't. As I went through this and I saw, the different percentages, I mean, so much about getting effective utilization and buy into the CRM is really kind of doing these 10 things and making sure you've got clear goals, clear objectives, clear communication, clear training across the board. So I thought this was a pretty interesting survey.
Yeah, and they definitely visualize it well with the kind of variety of charts and graphics that they have here. Kind of cool stuff to see, how people are spending their time or what they're focusing on as their kind of key goals in, their CRM setup.
Yeah, and I talk, integration, accounting software, 12%, customer support application, 27%. I was thinking that was chat, but it's probably desk, right?
Probably
they're talking about
desk.
there. An email marketing application, reports and BI, customer journey workflow, help and chat. It's pretty interesting. So I guess desk is the clear one that everybody has to have, or they're at least 1 in 4.
Interesting though is that it seems like the majority of people don't have their CRM integrated with other applications. If we're looking at 27% of people have it integrated with Desk, and that's the highest group.
Right.
Maybe everyone has one, and that's why the percentages are low kind of across the board. But it's surprising. I would imagine that, especially if they're surveying Zoho users, that you'd see a lot higher integrations.
48, 60. Yeah, this adds up to 100. So I would guess of the people that have integrated, this is what they've integrated.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how many actually don't have any integrations going on at all. What does the admin double as? This was great. 78% of admins are also salespeople. So those are the guys, I guess, that, oftentimes we see that it's sales that's driving the adoption of CRM, sales that's pushing for that entire thing. Pretty good. These were great questions, and well worth taking a look at. I liked it a lot. So nice job there, Zoho. All righty, and then going back to HubSpot, but they have a timeline of all Google algorithm changes and then recommendations on how to remediate them if they broke your SEO rankings and those kind of things. This is by Allie Decker. We've talked about her before. She just does an amazing work, but it's a long read, about 10 minutes, and it really just kind of goes through all of the various things you need to look at if you've got an algorithm. It goes through all 10 of them. So Panda, Penguin, Hummingbird, Pigeon, Mobilegeddon, Rank Brain, snippet length increase, mobile first indexing, Medic update, and BERT. Those are the big algorithm changes that they've had over the last 10 years. And it's crazy, the things that, if you go through this, you think about the things that Google was responding to, basically to prevent people from gaming the system. It seems like every one of these changes is someone is trying to game the system. Yep. Someone's trying to, get their rankings up there by adding virtually no value whatsoever, right? And so Google makes some changes so that supposedly it adds some value. But interesting read. We talk a lot on the show about SEO, getting your rankings up. It's a lot cheaper for people to find you organically than it is to pay for Google AdWords. So if you can do that, that's all the better. So I thought I'd put this in here because it's kind of an interesting read for me anyway.
Yeah, it's been such a change over time. I mean, I remember when SEO basically meant just stuffing as many keywords into every piece of content that you put out as you possibly could, and tagging it with every single tag that you could think of that might be relevant. We're now kind of fluff content or excessive tags is a way to get yourself really low in the ranking. So it's been huge changes over the life of SEO.
Well, it's funny. And the very first one, Panda, was to combat thin, duplicate, or plagiarized content, keyword stuffing, content farms, and website ratios with high ratio of ad to content. Well, if that's still working, then you shouldn't even be able to go to CNN, because I think it's like 50 ads for every piece of content now. But I don't know. We'll see.
Got to get ad block.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I have ad block, and occasionally I'll be in something where ad block's turned off, and I'm just shocked at what websites really look like sometimes. You're like,
I know.
Wow.
I've been using ad block for so many years that, like, if I ever am on a site and they require that you turn it off, or they check, and I have to.
Right. It's painful.
It's hard to do. And websites load so much slower with all the ads as well.
The worst is Forbes. So Forbes is so heavy with pop-ups and pop-ins and pop-overs and this and that. I can never get through an article, and they require you to turn off your ad blocker. So you have to turn off your ad blocker, and then basically, good luck. Good luck trying to read anything that they've written, because it's just a mess. All right, new on Zenatta.com. Got a really nice article written by our fantastic blogging staff on estimating and invoicing start to finish. And this is a step-by-step, everything you need to know about working with invoices and estimates and getting them sent out and how to do them and how to track them. So it's a great little tutorial. Recommend you take a look at that. And then Wayne has done his job of going out and continuing to find content that's out there. 15 ways to grow your mailing list, for a Zoho campaigns piece, another one of these. We're having a conversation about this because the searches are similar. So it's like Zoho PDFs, Zoho CRM PDF. And we're doing the same searches all the time to try to dig this stuff. And sometimes things just show up that have never shown up before. So we're not sure how the rankings go, but he's finding 2 pieces of content a week. And we're getting them all organized in our resource library now. So really good stuff there. And then he also found one on, a PHP SDK. So this basically Zoho showing you how to write a little PHP application. So pretty nice. Go Zoho. We keep bringing these things.
The endless fountain of content.
I know it's crazy. Hey, and then for our tip and trick, I recorded a quick little video for you on how to set up an approval process in Zoho CRM. It's funny. Most of our clients, I don't think, set up these approval processes, and they can be kind of important. If you're I think oftentimes it's in deals, something gets to a, proposal requested, before the proposal can be sent, you may want to make sure that gets reviewed. So as soon as proposal requested, you lock it, you can't move it to proposal sent. You basically, can send emails, proposal has to come for review, a person can review it. And then upon approval, it'll automatically move it to the proposal sent stage or proposal allowed to be sent, however you want to set it up and kick it off. But it's kind of nice because when you put an approval process in place, it basically locks the record until such time that gets approved. So it's, worth taking a look at. I know you've done several of them, Tyler.
Yeah, sometimes we'll set it up for little side processes in a deal too. So like, for example, we talked about this as an implementation a little while back when we were using the Kanban extension. But basically, maybe you have a special proposal department where certain deals need to go to the engineering team, or the equivalent to, make a more technical proposal so you can send something down a separate pipeline, but only if it's approved to go that way based on certain criteria. So they can be kind of useful little checkpoints for things as you're moving through a process.
All right. And then wrapping up the show here, we have got our application of the week. I was struggling this week, let's be fair, trying to find one. But, with everybody working from home, it seems like this is something I'm talking to people about all the time. Someone's lagging on one end or something isn't working. And, the question is it you or is it me? Whose side of the internet is there? And as I always said to all of my ex-wives, hey, don't feel bad about it. It's you, it's not me. And so that's was it. So, this is a great speedtest.net. They've got a Chrome extension. They've got a website. And, and if you do the Chrome extension, it's absolutely fantastic. You can click on it. It comes down, just a quick little drop down. You hit go and it's going to go ahead and measure all of your speed. They've got a web page you can just go to on the web page. It does have some ads, but it lets the ad blocker go. So if you're sitting there and you're just trying to figure out why is the video lagging so badly, why is what is going on with all of this? Well, speedtest.net, it's a great place to go. It picks a random server and it goes out and it does a speed test for you. And so I highly recommend this, especially if you're having these issues. And it's also, you're paying for your ISP and you're paying for certain levels, you're paying for certain bandwidth. And are you getting them? It's not a bad idea to check. I'm here at an office complex and, I think we've got bare minimums, which we hit, which is like 15. It's funny though, depending on the time of the day, this will go up to 300, 300, because it just depends, but when everybody's in here hitting it, but it still holds pretty steady. But worth taking a look at this application. Anything, Tyler?
No, I got nothing.
Got nothing. I do want to comment on how you're starting to copy my hair. I noticed that.
I take personal insult to that. We have video evidence that the hair swoop is a Tyler original.
Well, I've been in this grow out thing. It used to be I'd do like a 4 on the top and a 2 on the side, and then when COVID kind of hit, you couldn't get it cut and it started to grow out. And then I made a joke to one of my kids that I was going to put my hair in a man bun. And he said, "Oh, you're too old for that. You can't grow your
please
hair
don't do
long
a man
enough."
bun.
Hey
Please don't do
man,
a man bun.
I don't know. I might have to grow this out, and go the full bun at least.
We're going to lose a lot of sales that way. If you've got a man bun on a video call.
But anyway, now it's grown out. I don't know what to do with it. So I guess I'm starting to copy you. That's it. All right, well, enough about our hair. So, hey, this was our first time we ever broadcast the show live, which I think is it's kind of fun. We're basically doing it as a Zoom webinar for now, and we sent out the link just about 5 minutes before we got going. And basically, if you want to kind of hear how the sausage is made, Tyler and I just sitting here, we're talking about the show, we're talking about the show notes, we're figuring things out, talking about what we're going to talk about on the show, just talking about life and other stuff like that. So we actually had some people join this time, and we got a couple questions. So this will be kind of a new segment on the show where we can actually just kind of go through the questions that were asked during the show. So Tyler, you want to start with the first one there?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the questions that we had was about when you're doing email through either Zoho CRM or Zoho Begin. One of our listeners noticed that he was not able to save a draft. So he asked if he was doing anything wrong. Unfortunately, he is not doing anything wrong there. In the CRM, when you're just creating a one-off email, it does not allow you to save stuff as a draft. So it's a little bit different than using your normal email client.
Yeah, and then Jeff had another question about sending stuff out of Zoho Books, and it actually then comes directly from when you do that, when you're sending an invoice or something out of Zoho Books, that email comes from Zoho. It does not come out of your email. And can you change it so it comes from you so it doesn't go into junk? To the best of my knowledge, Tyler, you cannot do that. You can, though, make sure that the SPF and DKIM records are set up properly so that hopefully that it does recognize this is legitimate no matter how it's coming from. I will give you another. Am I missing anything on that, Tyler?
Yeah, so you can set up your own domain or users from your domain as a sender, right? So when I send an invoice, it comes from Tyler at Zenatta. The key is making sure that if you do that you get your SPF and DKIM records into your DNS.
But I don't think that's actually coming out of your domain, though, is it? It's coming from you, but I think it's being spoofed through Zoho servers.
Yes.
I think that's what he's saying, right? It's not actually going, if you're using Google, it's not going through Google's SMTP server. That's why you have to have those records set up properly. I'll give you another thing around this that we do, though, because I think it's cleaner, and I'm not really big on the Zoho. For most of the time, we're not. The templates that come out of Zoho Books, not that great. But what you can do is grab the invoice link and just drop it into the deal record inside the CRM, and then create a nice little email template that actually calls to that. So you can say, "Hey, thank you so much for your business. You can view your invoice by clicking this link," and you can just make it a dynamic link. And what that'll do is you could easily pull that from the CRM, pull that directly in there. And it gives you kind of a really clean look, I think, across the board when you're doing that. Also, the advantage of that is if, once you've sent out a bunch of invoices and you've got a bunch of deals, and maybe you're looking at, you got 8 or 9 deals that are awaiting payment, you can just go through and select off 5 or 6 of those in the deals module and then send a mass email that says, "Hey, just a reminder that your email is, your invoice is a little late." And again, you click here to pay your invoice and it's going to pull that in as well. Makes it a little more personal than just going into Books and sending a reminder. Again, that's very canned. Your email is 20 days late. What's the matter with you? Maybe you overlooked it, kind of thing. So you can and you could change those as well. But I think they look a lot cleaner coming out of the CRM as a template that way. So something to think about. All righty, Tyler, and that is a wrap. We love hearing from you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to info@zenatta.com, or you can head over to zenatta.com and click on drop us a line.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes as well as show notes with links to the stories we discussed today. You can also follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app as well as on YouTube. See you next Monday.